Over the past few months, we've grown our YouTube channel from 600 subscribers to over 8,300, and it's growing every single day, and we're so honored about that. And the thing that we've done with our YouTube is we're using it as a valuable asset for our school community and to grow our school community. And then in this video, we want to reveal behind the scenes exactly what we're doing to make sure that our YouTube channel is doing just that, is growing our school, but also adding immense value to our already existing school community. In this video, Steve and I are going to be breaking down the exact YouTube-to-School funnel system that we've been using, how we choose video topics, structure our CTAs, and most importantly, how to get our YouTube to talk to school and school to talk to YouTube. And especially how we give people a reason to join us without just saying, come join our school community. So if you want to turn YouTube into a consistent traffic engine for your school community ecosystem, this is the video for you because we're going to pull back the curtain on exactly how we do it. Let's dive in.
Let's do it. I think ultimately why school works so well with YouTube is because it's almost like a natural extension of it, right? Where school, it has the classroom, it has all the knowledge where you can get deeper information, right? You can get deeper connections, right, with the community members. And I think YouTube is a really great funnel to funnel people in from YouTube, leading with value, directly having that CTA to join your school community. And I think it just flows just so just so perfectly.
Yeah, and just something that I would add to that is, if we think about it this way, a lot of times inside of a school community, you're already giving value for free. You're sharing your knowledge, you're sharing your expertise. Your goal is to be of service and to help people, right? But the problem with that is a lot of times, unless people are searching within school's discovery for keywords that your community is known for, they're not going to find your specific content that you're already putting out for free. And so what we've found is when you take that same free content and start to find a way to position it properly on YouTube, YouTube becomes the search platform where people find your content, then feeds into your school where you can build more of the community, more of that ecosystem where people get live calls to you, a place where they get more worksheets and deeper dive things from that content itself. But it's more of that ecosystem where people can find you, where school's not quite there yet in terms of searchability to actually find you from the content necessarily inside of your community itself. So the two work really well to add value to your members. If you are trying to add value, you're trying to grow a following, and you want to build a community, having a platform like YouTube where you can do that and you can learn to master understanding how to convey your message is the best thing you could do to grow your school community. Now, before we continue, I want to talk about a misconception that I had around YouTube. And that was like that in order to grow your school or to grow your business, really, that you had to have thousands and thousands of subscribers.
Yeah.
And it couldn't be further from the truth. We even have a client right now. Her name is Atima. She had less than 50 YouTube subscribers, and one of them went through her entire funnel ecosystem and actually joined her paid membership with under 50 subscribers. So that's the goal of today.
Love it.
So what I think we should do is get into the mistakes that we see people make in terms of their YouTube and their school. So I think number one, what is it that you see most frequently?
The number one thing that I see, and the number one mistake that I've been seeing, is when you get on a YouTube channel, right, especially for newer people, they're constantly speaking, but they're constantly speaking to different people, right? They're speaking to, maybe somebody in this specific category versus this category every single video, right? And I think it's important to obviously have a balance of who you're speaking to, but the algorithm specifically wants you to speak to that specific avatar each and every single time.
Oh, that's so true. Yeah. So what Steve is saying is like go all in on teaching one specific thing to a narrow, like solve a narrow problem for a narrow audience, which goes back to a lot of the content we talk about, which is niching down and owning like one specific stance. So 100%.
Get niche and then get a little bit more niche, right? And
I think what they need to understand, Steve, is like, if this is top of funnel for you, if this is where you're getting your traffic, if you're speaking a language that's not of your most ideal client, you're not going to attract the right people into your school, which means you're not attracting the right people into your funnel that you could ultimately help. And so that means nothing will work. So this part's very important. So the top 4 mistakes that we see, number 1 being really no clear audience or clear direction with your content that would attract the right people into your funnel. The second mistake that we see is just no clear CTA for joining your community. What we'll hear is join the community, instead of talking about the actual things going on inside of the community that would actually be valuable for someone to join.
Yeah, a big mistake is people sell community, right? And you don't sell community, especially if you're not, let's say, quote unquote, known. You sell your information, right? You sell what you're gonna get what you're going to give that person inside. So you want to make your content so good and so sticky that you honestly, you don't hold back on it. You don't play hard to get.
Yeah.
You just give it to them, and you showcase what you know. And I think that's a big thing is people hold this information for the people that are paying, and that's fine. But if you're not known, you got to show the world who you are and what you know. And by doing that is giving your information out, giving that value to that viewer on the other side.
Yeah.
So important.
And that's mistake number 3, is not giving enough value in your content itself. Because if your free stuff sucks, it's just like Alex Hormozy says. It's like, if your free stuff sucks, people are going to think your paid stuff sucks.
I think ultimately, the more weird and the more you that you are, the more you're going to actually connect. Now, you're like a magnet, right? You're going to connect the people that are for you, and you're going to retract the people that are not for you. I think ultimately, when you're super authentic and you're super real, you're going to obviously turn people off. But the same time you're turning people off, you're attracting those people that are for you, right? Because maybe you do that weird thing that you do, right? And they go like, oh, I resonate with that, right? And I think that's really important, is just to be super authentic here on YouTube.
So mistake number 1 is creating content for the wrong audience. Mistake number 2 is no clear CTA. Mistake number 3 is terrible content quality and just holding back your expertise and your authority. Mistake number 4 is saying just join the community and not emphasizing the worksheets, the masterclasses, the actual things in the ecosystem that's happening within the community itself.
Yeah, give them a reason why they should listen to you.
Yeah. And then what I want to share, just a little side note here, because I had about 210 videos on YouTube before we really started to ramp up. So the thing is the difference between all the 200 videos that I did before versus what really started, I think, taking off the channel, I really started to take the title, the thumbnail, and the description really, really seriously, and focusing on a 30-second really compelling hook that we're starting to deliver on throughout the entire episode, and make sure that by the end of the episode, you fully delivered on what you promised in the video. Because even if you have the best video in the world, if you fail to do those things and you don't have a cover, your title sucks, the description is irrelevant, and guys, people aren't gonna find your content. So you've really got to master those components of your video.
Exactly. I think ultimately, when it comes to YouTube, what I've really have figured out in the last 2 months, honestly, is the thumbnail is probably just as important as the video itself.
Yeah.
I think that's like the 2 biggest thing, is to get the thumbnail dialed in, but then also have it so the quality and the value is right in the beginning. And once you have that, your watch time, your viewer watch time will increase, and the algorithm will definitely reward you.
Yeah. So now what I want to get into is actually the YouTube-to-School funnel. So I think when we first started being really consistent on YouTube, it was with our free community members existing already in mind, because we were able to look at the feed and say, okay, what questions do people have? What are they bringing up in the feed that we could actually just create content to solve for that? So everything we create is with our free community members in mind, so we can help them more to solve their problems, which is really cool. So we're able to then take our YouTube video, share that with our Skool community. And little ninja hack here is, when you share a YouTube video on Skool, you need to use like the and sign views behind your YouTube URL, or else the views won't count. So little side note there.
Yeah, extremely important.
Okay, so now we should talk about the funnel from YouTube to Skool itself. So first, you need to know what to create in your YouTube content so that you can attract the right people for your Skool community. So like I was just touching on, a really great way to do that is actually see what questions your existing clients or your existing members are already asking, and just start to create that, because you want to attract more of those people. And so you have your best data under your own roof in your Skool community. So make content for your Skool members and share that on YouTube, but make sure that it's packaged correctly. So speak directly to your ICA.
And if you don't know what to create, ask your community. I do that all the time in a poll. And whichever poll is voted the most, I primarily go with. And then maybe if I'm running out of ideas, I go with the second or the third options, right? And the value and the content ideas are right there in your community. You just got to ask.
This is literally, okay, Steve, to your point, he just made a poll in our community. One of them was, how do you get your first 25 paid members in Skool? Well, that was one of our last videos that we just filmed. This one was the runner-up to that poll of, what do you want to learn most? And it was, okay, well, how do we use Skool and YouTube together? And that was the second most voted answer. That's where we got the video that we're filming right now, is because of the poll from our free Skool community. So understand, we're not just randomly trying to force ourselves to come up with content all the time. The content ideas are there. You've just got to ask the right questions.
I mean, you literally collect this data, right, in a poll, and then you simply just deliver. And then maybe you over-deliver, right? And I think that's the rule.
Yeah.
Over-deliver.
Totally.
Okay.
So once you know what you're actually going to film, how do you actually structure the content itself? Well, it's simple. I map everything out before we film. So we're very clear. What is the topic of the video? What's our 30-second hook? What's our body? What are we actually going to talk about? And I don't fully script out anything in the body, but I do have bullet points for us to hit. That way, the episode at least has some structure, some a framework, if you will. And then there's a CTA at the end, and exactly where you want to send your members. And as long as we go in knowing that structurally, then we're good to go. And then we always have to make sure that we film or take a photo for the thumbnail, because there's a lot of times we almost forget to do that. So you want to take a thumbnail, and that's really important that you go into the episode actually knowing what your thumbnail is going to be, so you know what kind of photo to take. And then it seriously is that simple. I think just making sure you like have a structure for the episode is important. You don't just want to ramble on YouTube. It's not really going to work that well. People want to follow a process in your episode. After that, then you want a clear CTA. So that's really the last piece of your framework of your episode. So for example, it wouldn't just be just join my school community, click the link below. That could be one of them. If you're actually talking about the community and how awesome it is in that episode, then sure, that might make sense. But that shouldn't be all of your CTAs. Or something else could be like promoting one of your live lessons that you do. So I might say something like, look, if you want to deep dive on the funnel to membership method and see how you could integrate our specific process into your business and be able to ask us questions on a live Zoom call, then all you got to do is just join our community. We go live once a month and do a masterclass where you can actually show up live and ask us any questions that you have. And who knows, maybe those questions will turn into our next YouTube video. So click the link below and join Magnetic Memberships. We'll see you on the next live. Something like that. So then the question might be, okay, well, you're driving people from that CTA to your school. Where do you actually link them? Well, if it's to a worksheet, you just link to the worksheet or link to your calendar. But the thing that's going to happen is if they're not already a member, they're going to be sent to your school about page. So you should always directly link to the thing you're talking about in the video. Don't just always link to the school about page, because what's going to happen if, remember, we say part of this is you're using it with your existing school community members. So if you're always just driving existing members back to your about page when they want to find a specific worksheet, that's annoying for everyone. They don't want to go searching for it. So you need to directly link to the specific CTA thing that you're calling out. And what's going to happen if someone's not a member of your community is they're going to get sent to your about page. They're going to have to log in. They're going to have to actually join, and then they can re-click the link and get exactly to the place that they need to be to get the resource that you just talked about in your video. So that's how I would actually leverage your links in your video of your YouTube. But you just got to make sure that your about page is actually set up properly. This is not the video for us to talk about that. I have plenty of videos where I deep dive on exactly how to create an about page, and I'll link it right here so that if you want to learn more about pages and set yours up properly, then go and watch that video before you do. So basically your about page must be set up so that YouTube viewers actually convert and click join in your school community. Your CTA doesn't necessarily equal a new member. You have to make sure that you make them a member by having a strong about page. So then here's what we've noticed with YouTube. If they take the time to watch your episode and actually follow through and join your school, for example, they really want to solve their problem, and they see you as the authority, and they want your help doing that. So just think about that. We've taken anyone in the world who could want to learn from you, and we've brought someone through a process that's shown us how serious they are about solving this problem.
Yeah, and I think ultimately maybe they didn't invest financially in you yet, but what they did do was invest time-wise.
Yeah.
Right? They invested watching 20 minutes in one video, 30 minutes in another video, right? And at that point, they've watched maybe 5, 10 videos of yours, and at this point, they're like, these are the guys for me. I can just tell, just because of their vibe that they put out.
Yeah, so then I think what we should talk about is how YouTube compounds over time. I kind of touched on this earlier, talking about how 5 years later, someone could still be watching your epic YouTube video. And so if you look at the compounding effects of YouTube, the writing's on the wall that over time, your audience, your presence, as long as you're continuing to be consistent and put out high quality stuff and get 1% better every day, it's gonna grow. So what this specifically unlocks for your business is having more consistent traffic without the need to run paid ads. It's also bringing in higher quality traffic and leads for your business and people who could be really valuable members in your free community that you can continue helping, adding value, and supporting them on their journey. And then also a sustainable growth engine that you own that's going to be working for you well into the future.
I agree. And if you really look at YouTube and school, right? If you look at it from a whole, like YouTube is limited in ways that school serves YouTube. It's complementing each other.
Yeah, it's like the YouTube video is the reason they find us, and then the community is the reason that they stay in our world with us. is because they make friends and they meet people from all around the world who are actively looking to solve similar problems to them, and they're choosing to solve them with us, which is really cool. So it just all works together like this machine. I don't know, this like ecosystem that everyone wants to be a part of.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think the CTA, with just having the CTA to your school, it's just like the next natural step, right? It's not like, hey, go buy my thing for this much. Like, go ahead and click the link and, fill out this form. It's like, no, if you want to get more in-depth information and maybe some resources, and maybe they're free, you can do that in my school community. Just click the link below and join. Like, it's just like that easy. And it's just that of a next natural step that doesn't feel salesy. I love that.
Yeah. So where I think we should go next in this episode is like, if someone's watching us right now, what should they do over the next couple of weeks to really anchor this in and really get started taking this seriously?
I would say number one, clarity, right? Get really super clear on who you're speaking to when it comes to your avatar, what your YouTube channel is going to be about. Look at a niche, but then go even deeper, right? And eventually, as you get bigger, you can get more broad. But the reality is, you can't help everyone right now because you're maybe you're a nobody, right? Maybe nobody really knows who you are on the internet. The only way for you to get known is you speak to that specific individual, and then eventually you'll be able to get broad and be able to help everybody. But right now, you want to truly, niche down.
Agreed. And I think part of that clarity could come from making sure your school about page is set up properly. And also making sure your YouTube foundations are there. Like you have a cover on your YouTube, your image is there, your description is right. And and you've planned out your first maybe 3 to 5 videos. And I'm going to link a video next for you to watch because what we use to organize our YouTube content is Asana. It's completely free. So I have a video where I specifically walk you through how we've set up our Asana board to organize our content so that we're not just going in blind out into the field. So I think that would be a really helpful video for you to watch next, because even if you go get that Asana board set up and your about page is ready on school, your YouTube is set up properly foundationally, and then you have your Asana board, the only thing left for you is to plan your next 3 to 5 episodes and get out there and actually film one.
Yeah. I mean, you hear it all the time, right? Consistency. But I have to say, like, if you specifically set a date each week, let's say long form video, once a week, maybe it's a Sunday, maybe it's a Wednesday, whatever day you choose, I have to say, like, you have to have it come out each of that day. Let's say you announce it, right? Every Wednesday at 9 p.m. I wouldn't recommend that late, but let's say 6 a.m., right? On a Wednesday, you're having this piece of content come out. So your users and your audience knows exactly that, oh, it's Wednesday at 6 a.m. They have a video out from me, right? Just like any TV show when you grew up, you knew like Sunday nights at 8 p.m., my TV show is coming out. It's the same mindset with that. Totally. And being extremely consistent is like the most important part of all of it.
Yeah, and if you're sitting here and you're listening to Steve and you're like, well, Steve, what is the best day and time to post the content? Honestly, stop worrying about all that. You just have to. And even if it's not exactly perfect, the way that you envision it to be, done beats perfect. And what our mindset is like 1% better each time.
I would say imperfect action beats no action every single time of the week, right? And I think ultimately, just take action, right? Have conviction and just be extremely consistent. And if you end up shifting your niche down the line, that's okay. I mean, obviously I wouldn't recommend it, but that's life, right? You change who you want to work with. And I think ultimately just get started and just literally hit that record button. And like I said, the first 5, 10, 15, 20 videos are going to suck, but just keep sitting in that seat repeatedly and you'll only get better. It'll become more natural.
Great. So then the next video that I want you to watch to actually start taking action and implementing what we're talking about is a video on specifically how to set up your content Asana board. So that's going to be linked right now. Check it out and we'll see you in the next one.